Patrick Mara joins us right now. He is a Republican running for the at-large seat for the D.C. Council. And by the way, that election is April 23rd. Early voting is already taking place now. And Patrick Mara, we appreciate you joining us this morning. How's the race looking?
Thanks for having me this morning. It's a great day. It's looking wonderful. We've built a very broad coalition, unlike anything seen before in the district. And it's clear to me when I talk to voters in all 8 wards that people really, really want change. They want integrity, and they're very, very tired of the scandals that are taking place in the Wilson Building and the City Hall and other parts of the D.C. government.
Yeah, and listen, I know that you've been running as a reformer, and you're getting a lot of traction. Even the Washington Post has endorsed you. But I got to ask you, unfortunately, the specter of race has been brought into this political contest over the last couple of days. George Johnson, he's the head of Local 20 of AFSCME, he said after endorsing Anita Bonds, he said people have perceptions about what this city is becoming, and they want this council to remain black, and if they don't get out there and put black folks in there, they're going to have a white city council. And meanwhile, Anita Bonds, your opponent, she had a chance to actually disavow these comments and to walk away from them, but instead it looks as though she actually embraced them. Here she is on Sunday, speaking on a radio show, Cut 22.
Definitely the council should be representative of the people who live in the District of Columbia. And being a black woman, I'm happy to hear that comment, quite honestly. I would be foolish not to want to enjoy of the comment.
Then, of course, the comment is that comment from George Johnson from the Local 20 AFSCME. So I ask you, Patrick Mara, what's your take on that?
Well, it's an extremely unfortunate comment. To be honest, it's something for me that I've read about in the history books. So it's a foreign type of thought. But to be honest, that's not what voters are talking about when I speak with them. You know, they're concerned about jobs, schools, public safety. That type of thought just is not on the minds of voters, any voters, wherever I speak to them in the city.
Yeah, but if somebody had said in support of your candidacy something along these lines, people have perceptions about what this city is becoming, and they want this council to remain white. And if they don't get out there and put white folks in there, there'll be a black city council. Would you have denounced that?
Of course, but I think at the end of the day, the most important thing, if people do not want this type of thought on the D.C. Council, this way of thinking on the D.C. Council, it's important that your listeners get out and vote on April 23rd.
Yeah, but I have to hold you to sort of answer the question. It seems to me that that you're not willing to sort of criticize her for this, and it seems to be a rather divisive thing to say when you're running for public office.
Yes, I mean, like I said, I was shocked by the comment. Running in D.C. as a Republican is a very difficult thing, and I was very, very disappointed with the comments that Ms. Bonds made on the radio on that radio.
What does it tell you about Anita Bonds' campaign that she's had to stoop to this now, that they're bringing this in? Do you think that she's in trouble?
I think what I've seen is candidates are primarily running against me, and you've seen this with their fundraising emails. You've seen this with their contacts with voters. They're primarily attacking Patrick Mara, the Republican. So the nice thing about this is that they see me as a threat, and like I said, we've built this broad coalition. But everybody seems to be attacking Patrick Mara, the Republican, with Republican prominently featured in any of their attacks.
Let me ask you then, what do you think is a primary concern of D.C. residents right now? And we're seeing all these reports that the housing market is so strong now in D.C., and that should increase the tax base. And if you were to be a member of the council, you're going to have a lot of money to play with. Do you think that the council right now is, in fact, being judicious about how it spends money, and are the taxpayers' dollars being used properly?
No, absolutely not. We have a gigantic budget, $10 billion. I'm the only one who is saying that we should consider giving money back to taxpayers. This is actually, and I don't think they understand this in City Hall, this is actually people's money. It's not the government's money.
How about that?
I know that's a simple concept for your listeners, but that's really not the view of these folks in City Hall. Huge problem. I also think we need to look at reducing taxes, reducing fees. We're extremely uncompetitive with surrounding jurisdictions of Virginia and Maryland even. So I would bring a whole new way of thinking. We can spend money a heck of a lot better. But, I'm also running not only to prevent crime in our neighborhoods, but also at City Hall. The Fraternal Order of Police just endorsed me, in fact.
Oh, wow.
Well, on that issue, what about the burning issue of our time? Speed cameras in the district. Where are you on that issue?
Well, this is a classic example because the district has these, they find something, and it's not about, for them in City Hall, it's not about public safety.
Thank you.
Anything we should do should be about public safety. Anything along those lines should be about public safety. It should be about helping the citizenry. But in this case, to City Hall, this is just about revenue raising. This is just about squeezing as much out of every person that they possibly can. And that's not the perspective that I'll bring to City Hall.
So refreshing to hear that, but what would you do if you got elected in that regard?
With speed cameras, you mean?
Yep.
Well, first and foremost, we have to stop putting them absolutely everywhere because it seems the way that it's done now. It's just about let's make some money, and at the end of the day, it's an I gotcha. Oh, we got some more money from you, and so I would certainly also look at we have to, based on what I've heard from drivers who have been caught traps by these speed cameras. We need to look at reducing the fees associated with them. But I think this is a bad way of going about business in the District of Columbia. We should be welcoming. We should be inviting people to come in. Coming in the district shouldn't be about always being worried that you're going to get caught for going slightly over the speed limit.
Well, Patrick Mary, you've got Brian Wilson's vote. The bad news is he lives in Maryland, so all that shameless pandering to Wilson on the speed camera is going to do you no good. But I'm sure you turned some other heads here. So good luck on the election. Thanks for coming by again. And by the way, I want everybody to know that we did invite Anita Bonds to join us. We want her to speak up for herself and defend her statements, and she was unable to join us. But Patrick Mary, a Republican for D.C. Council at large seat, this April 23rd is the election date. He did join us, and Patrick Mara, we appreciate that.
Thank you. April 23rd.